Welcome back to my channel. So in the previous video, I talked about how to generate a static locations using the Keysight Signal Studio for Global Navigation Satellite System. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how can you generate a dynamic trajectory simulated locations where you can simulate out a driving speed or a walking speed just for testing purpose. So again, this screen shows that a remote control to my signal generator, and this is the software, the Signal Studio software, which you can download from keysight.com. And this is the remote display from a Firefox that use as the GPS receiver for now. So let's talk about how to set up. If you miss out on the setting up the Firefox as a GPS receiver in the previous video, we can go back here. So how do I do it is once you boot out this Firefox, just go to System Configurations, GNSS. So receiver I set as internal, then selections GPS. Again, it covers a few, so it should tally with this. Which one do you want to test out? So for our case, we are testing GPS, so we select GPS here, and GNSS. Normally I'll display out the location so that someone is locked down, I can see what's going on here. And the format, I prefer to do it this way so that we can tally it with a decimal point on our simulated locations. So now we go back to the Signal Studio software, and let's say we want to generate out the dynamic. So again, like I mentioned in the previous video, in Signal Studio, the common setup is we do it from bottom to the top. So this is just an input-output for for the signal generator. Nothing much to change there. And this is how we set up the trajectory preview. So this is a generator. So, and if you want to look at the preview, it would be such. So generator is the one that we're going to set up. So you can actually import shapes, predefined rectangle or circle. This is how I've predefined. I did it on the rectangle, which looks similar, something like this. And you can play around with the durations where you can set this. The segment length depends on durations or distance. So it's up to you, whichever you want to set. And so this is how I set it up. And this is where the starting point is. So again, how we get it is over here. Just go to here. Let's say I want to start at the park, at the point. So I just copy here, and then I just paste. And again, longitude is this, which is east or west. And this is north and south latitude. So I'm normally just go with 3 decimal or 4 decimal after that. And let's say the start time, I want it to be 2 minutes after this. Right now it's 54, we set to 56. Okay, so so once you set it up and how the shape you want it to be, I do recommend to export it because you're going to use this file. How we're going to export to a file that is usable is here, export, and go to GP. So I have this, just overwrite it. Then after that, we go back to I will prefer to save the trajectory also, so that I can edit it as time goes by. Okay, then I go to scenario generator. So here, instead of static, I change to dynamic, and this is the one that I've created just now, the GGA file, rectangle, and I want to set it at 56, which is tally with what I set up. And again, I need the almanac file. You need to download the almanac file in UMA format, YUMA format, and put in. It should tally with the day that you want to simulate out. If you want it for a later day, you just have to change the almanac, get the week's worth of almanac, and tally with the date that you want to simulate. Okay, and again, this setup is done in a closed in a shoebox, so the signal is contained. So once you're happy with that dynamic, so we create file. So let's say we name it as Jaws Park Rectangle. Okay, replace it, and then we are ready to go. And I noticed that for this dynamic we need to be to have higher power. Let's say we put it at 65. And again, you can change this power after you've done it. And once you're happy with that, we just go to state on, and it should download there. And then we just have to make sure that the RF is on. Yep. And then we check on our receiver here, see whether it will lock down the location, simulator locations. One thing I learned about is throughout this trial is that normally if you want to get a faster lock locations, I would suggest to turn it to a bit high here in the power. So we just wait for a while. And one thing that if you're doing a trajectory generator, you can see the real-time trajectory view. So you can see that it's starting to move right now at these locations. And we just have to wait for a while here for the signal to come up from here. So again, as you can see, I changed beyond the power level from the signal generator and also the absolute power, just for it to get locked down on the locations. So again, it will take some time for it to get the locations locked. So just give you a moment. So as you can see right now, it's locked down on that locations, and let's compare it to the trajectory view on the locations right now. There's 7.906, there's 7.906, about that, 145, 204. Okay, and again, just remember that this GPS for commercial use, for people like us, the commoners use is has a 100 meters spec. So anything fall within that is still within the spec. So it's not that accurate, but it's doable. Then you can see that it's moving right now. So again, this is how you're going to set up the trajectory generator. Just a summary, you have to go to trajectory generator. Make sure that you have the shape that you want, set up the velocity, the angle, turning, duration, distance, then the starting point, then the start time, then save it, export it as a GGA file, then recall it from this scenario generator. Instead of using dynamic, use instead of using static, use dynamic. Go to the rectangle, then start time. Everything should be saved from the trajectory generator. Then go back to the starting point, the state on and off. Then you play around with that, the power level, just to get the locations to lock down. And that's it. Thanks for watching.